welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And Beth is hidden because it's Eve's birthday week. Her birthday's on Monday. Mm-hmm. So this is her flamingo that
you got a very special present for her birthday.
Oh, I knocked this little
I had to sign into a doctor's office, and you know where it says age? It's it said blank, and I'm not telling you how old. Blank and 11 months and 28 days.
Yeah. So she's having a birthday. Happy birthday, Eve.
Yes, happy birthday.
So we're going to take a break and move this big thing so you can see Beth. Where's Beth? We're hiding Beth as usual. We'll be right back. We're back. Yes. Now you can see Beth.
Hello.
I'm going to go first. So I was holding up, you saw the cover picture, I'm holding up both sleeves. I am almost done with sleeve number 2. So that's what I'm working on. This is Jordan's sweater, which is my own design from the,
sorry.
That was her lotion, not her bodily functions. You might have heard on the microphone. Here's the sweater. I'm making this from Jacqueline Fee's Sweater Workshop. So this is my own design. So this is a sweater. She wants it like waist length. So that's about to get the sleeves joined on. And this is the first sleeve in its entirety. And then this is the second sleeve. I am, what's 16 and 16? 32 rows approximately from finishing this. Yay! And then I will join right here at the underarm of the sweater. I'll join to each sleeve all the way around the back, and then this sleeve, and then make the decreases up to the neck. So that is where I am, and that's literally all I've been doing. I took this with me to Taos. I had hoped I would have a lot more knitting time than I did, but I had sleep knitting time. Actually, no, I did get a lot done. So most of the decreases is what I did while I was there. And we've been back a few days, and I've continued to work on this steadily. I'm kind of like really focused. I'm not going to finish it in time for Hannah to take it back with her to her friend, but it will fall along the mail pretty quickly after that. So I'm pretty confident I can finish this maybe 2 weeks. We'll see.
Before it gets cold.
Yeah. So in other news, the yarn I showed you last week, I showed it to Hannah, and as predicted, she was like, "Ooh, can I use that?" And I was like, "Of course." So
is that the green and yellow and the one you spun?
So then I washed it, and it. Excuse me.
Did it bleed all over itself?
No, it bloomed beautifully.
Oh,
and so it's like a DK weight. So then she was like, "I'm gonna make this shrug thing that she found," and I'm like, "It's not gonna work. That is a lace weight shrug. This is not enough yards." And she doesn't believe me. She's just, "I'm gonna wing it." I'm like, "You are not gonna wing it with my yarn that I made, because if you're gonna do that and then never wear it, I am gonna take it from you and use it for my own devices." So I was like, "No, we're gonna find a pattern." So we found a crochet pattern, and I bought it, but it is disappointingly written. It's a very young girl, and it's what she wants is one of those sleeves, which is like, it's like a top that goes here and the back with a hole for the neck, so it sits kind of on your shoulders, and then it's just long sleeves. So it's like a tiny little, like you wear it with a tank top, and it just comes to here. So we bought the pattern, and it's horribly written. It's not very explanatory. It's obviously a young woman, good for her, made a pattern, but does not have experience in pattern writing, because she's like, I read through it, because the problem is that even with that pattern, it's made for DK weight, which is what I think this yarn is, and her yardage recommendation is just a little bit more than what we have. So I was talking to Hannah about needing to get a contrast, and I was like, you need to read the pattern and see how it's made, and see if you start on one sleeve and go this way, you know, and because it's crochet, you can add on, you know, wherever you need, but you have to plan if you're going to add another yarn to both sides. And, you know, she's like, well, I could just wing it. I'm like, no, stop it. So it's like the way the pattern is written, you make this part first, and then you join for the sleeves and go down. So I'm like, when you join for the sleeves, you weigh the ball of yarn, you divide it in half, and that's how much you you use, and then you stop. And then you use the reserve for the other sleeve so that you have the same amount of that color on both sleeves. And I said, and then you can get the contrast and crochet more on the sleeves. And then on the way over here, a little while ago, I had seen a pattern for a shrug that is literally just a rectangle, a long rectangle. And you knit it, and then you sew up to here, and then it just sits kind of over your shoulders. So on the way here, I was like, if you had really big needles, you could just knit a rectangle like that, and then add a crocheted cuff on there. Mm-hmm. You know, so use my yarn for the main part of it, and then use a contrast to crochet the cuffs. So we talked about that on the way here, so maybe I'll have her do that. We're gonna go to the yarn shop so she can get a contrasting color.
Did she bring the yarn with her?
No, it's at the house. We're gonna go back to the house.
You're gonna need to take it with you.
Oh yeah, of course.
Although the idea of knitting it and then having crochet sleeves isn't it?
I think it would work. I think it would work well.
No. I'm just saying. I think it would be a very interesting look. Mm-hmm. You know.
Well, because I was telling her, you know, you could knit it to the. You could even knit it wrong in a way. Like you could not wrong, but you could knit it lengthwise this way, like, you know, cast on enough to, you know, comfortably go around your wrist or whatever. And then knit it until you run out of yarn in the same size, right? Mm-hmm. And then you sew it up so you have a little shrug and you have sleeves, and then you can make the sleeves longer if you want with a crochet, I was thinking like a flowered cuff, you know? Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to talk her into actually making a plan instead of just
making it as you go along.
Yeah. And so I'm like, there's a tiny part of me that's like, I have plans for this yarn. But okay, I do whatever you say.
You could actually just buy her two and say, here, give me my yarn back.
No, but I also like the idea of her sporting something and being able to say to her friends, my mother made this yarn. Like, that's cool too. So yeah. But here's a picture of the finished skein on my new granite countertop photo. It's very photogenic, so I put it there and took a picture. But yeah, so that is all I have to talk about. That's all I've been doing. Boring.
Shall I go next? Because Beth has a giant pile.
Sure. Yes.
Okay, so last week I showed you the FFOs I did, the little flamingo.
Why do I keep saying the wrong bird?
It's a flamingo.
Yeah. Like all the other flamingos in front of you, Beth.
No. Well, a while ago I called them something else. Besides, not a penguin, I called it something else.
I don't know. But I'm going to show a picture here so you can see it. Actually see it, because it's very tiny.
Because last week we didn't.
Yeah, last week we didn't take any pictures. We didn't edit the video at all. And then, of course, my shock finish.
Yes.
You what? Oh.
The mill dog.
The mill hill. By the way, the flamingo is my own design. It's not on our Etsy shop yet. I've had an interesting week.
You want to make your own flamingo? We'll have it on the shoot.
After a while, yeah. So this is Mill Hill Letters to Santa, and it's beaded and has a little leaves and stuff, and I just put sticky felt on the back and a magnet because our refrigerator likes magnets. My mom likes refrigerator magnets, and let me tell you, there's a lot of magnets on that refrigerator. And then I FFO'd my bookmark with some sticky felt. So I'll put pictures this time. And then, of course, this. And this is Letters to Santa. Oh, my God. The Greatest Story. And a friend...
Hold it this way more, so you're more on camera.
Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry. These are poinsettias I got at Hobby Lobby.
Are they just adhesive back?
Well, they are, but I glued them on. I don't think they're adhesive back. But I did glue them on. And this is 14 count, Ada.
And that's your own design, your
It's
own
my own
cross
design.
stitch design.
And it is on the Etsy shop. So I talked last week about maybe staining this and then putting magnets so that I can change it out with designing other things for other occasions. And somebody on my channel, she suggested that instead of magnets, why don't you use those command strip Velcro things? And I went, well, that's a very good idea.
Yeah.
Because the only problem with the magnets is that it makes this big gap here on the side that you can actually see through.
Correct.
And
the Velcro would not.
And the Velcro would be more flat. And this is a thing I bought at Hobby Lobby. It's a, what do they call it? Wood sign with hooks.
It's very descriptive. It's imaginative.
So I really like the idea of making stuff to change this out. And it may not be the same length as this one, but, you know, same length as this. I don't know. We'll see. Because, as you see, I do not do my own stuff very quickly. Because I haven't put anything on this yet. I was... I wanted to go and get the command strips and stain this, and I've lost 2 days. So, also, I finished my Snowman Berry by, this is Burberry by Erica Michaels.
Oh, you finished it?
And I did it on 32 count blue ice. I think it might be a Swigart linen. But when I started it, I did not read that all these little swirlies were supposed to be 1/2. I did them 2/2. Okay? If I'd done them 1/2, I probably would not have run out of this color. I ran out of the color, you know, at night. And I was like, well, I could get some more, I guess, and wait and do it another week and blah, blah, blah. I just used B5200. And you can't tell.
Yeah.
So whenever I have a pattern that calls for this particular white, yeah, I won't be using it. I'll be using B5200 because that's a lot cheaper.
Can I see?
The reason I was pushing to finish that was that I wanted to get this particular snowman finished before I start my snowman on my birthday, which is that Heaven and Earth Designs.
That's so pretty, that one.
I don't know what it's called, but you'll see the beginning of it next week. I have no plans to like work on it a certain amount of time during the day or to work on it a certain number of days during the week. I plan to work on it when I feel like working on it. And the thing is that I really, really, really love the pattern. So I feel like until I get frustrated with, you know,
As you inevitably will.
as I inevitably will because I'll make mistakes and have to take things out.
And it's full coverage.
And yeah, until I get frustrated with that.
Has to go in timeout for some reason.
Like the Bill Hill did. So
Just make sure
Well,
you're...
those things are really hard too because they're so pixelated. Sometimes, you know.
what?
The full coverage, the heaven and earth things, because you know what looks like a small patch becomes really large when you're doing all of those tiny the tiny details or whatever.
So,
Do you have it with you?
no.
Oh.
No. I'll start on it, but I've shown it before. We can pull up a picture and you can see it here. So right now, I am working on this. This is, I don't know why I can't remember the name or who did it. Plant Pots by Darlene and Whimsy for the Meow the Merrier. And I am almost done with this middle kitty.
Cute.
I had in mind to finish it for Beth for her birthday. This may be birthday in the year 2025, but oh,
Give Beth an incentive to live a long life, to finally get her paw prints, paw plants, or whatever that's called.
Yeah, Beth has a whole bunch of plants in this area in our house.
And I need to water.
Yeah, there's other things that need to be done there. So I thought it would be cute to have, she doesn't have any succulents anymore. All of her succulents have died. I don't know why, because they're not that hard to do.
I think they're just potted badly when you buy them.
Yeah, and so,
and I never quite got the hang of succulents.
and then of course, 2 of these are cactus, and I'm just not interested in potted cactus. I don't know about Beth. I know Mark was for a while, huh?
Wait, yeah, he loves cactus.
They're really hard to repot because you can't grab hold of them. You have
That's
to
what they make gardening gloves for.
Yeah, but I mean,
Oops, that's
I think when I drive around and I see flowering cactus, I think it's beautiful. I love a Southwest landscape. I love saguaros and barrel cactus and all that. To me, they're beautiful. I do not want to see them in my house or my yard. I do have one in my yard, but I don't like it. In the backyard where road runs more free,
Oh, yeah.
I had them take that one cactus out. Finally, I was just like, no, just take it out. Because every time she started going that way, I'm like, stop. Part of that is when we were kids, Tim ran into a cactus in the near dark, and I can still remember him screaming as they were pulling the little things out of him. So I'm not interested in that. So,
Well, granted, he probably deserved it.
He was playing football. And he
I'm
ran.
just saying.
that was one of those fish
I just
fries
mean-
of Dad's.
I just mean, like,
Yeah.
in general in his life, he probably deserved it.
Yeah.
For all. He inflicted as much pain as he got. Let me just say that.
So for WIP-GO, the first half of August, my pull was Christmas Lantern, 10 days on this, and actually I haven't reached 10 days, but it's not even the 15th yet, so I don't care. I will work on it more. I got a lot done,
Wow.
not as much as I had hoped
Nice.
to. So I it's finished up to like here. And the rest of it is down here. And you know, this is, you see how close this is up here? It's about that down here too. And I know I don't leave a lot on top and bottom, but I don't like leaving a big giant border around it, so that's okay. Sorry, the sound isn't off on my phone. So this is by Twin Peak Primitives, and
That's really cute.
I went there to buy a cross stitch camp, a cross stitch camp piece. The chicken pulling the rooster pulling the little thingy, and I saw this there, and I was like, I gotta have that.
Look, you can really see the sparkly. Now, a minute ago when you were holding it up, I really couldn't see them, but it looks nice.
Yeah, I like this gold sparkly. It's on DMC 14 count Ada in a sparkly, I don't know what it's called. It's a sparkly gold. When you get the package, you know, the rolled up package, it says DMC 14 count Ada in the size. But I've looked all over for, I know that this is 14 count opal. We'll talk about this in a sec. But it doesn't say it anywhere on the packaging. So I guess they're not very proud of it. I don't know. And then here's a picture of the Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts temperature SAL. And this is how far I am. It has been a warm but not super hot week. I think the highest one was 111.
Yeah, it cooled down.
We even got rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, it rained
Missed it.
It rained for, I don't know, half an hour.
Nice.
Yeah. That doesn't sound like a long time.
They're excited.
But it was. There was a lot of thunder.
My friend that wrote about the rain last time, she said that, you know, that it rained. She said, you know, posted that it rained, and I said, oh, you know, what part of Phoenix are you in? And, you know, and she said, but she said that, like, before she finished posting it, it stopped. But then yesterday maybe, she posted again a picture of her backyard, and she says something about, like, oh, this is happening right now. And I was like, what's she talking about? What's she talking about? And I looked at, and then finally I saw that the cement around her pool was wet, you know, and sprinkly.
I got like 5 drops of rain on my windshield yesterday. I was very excited for about 5 seconds.
So a little bit ago, I was using my scissors with this kind of scissor fob on it, which I will take a picture of because you can only see my hand. And I snapped it like right up here by the thing.
Oh no.
And it was just because I tweaked it wrong, you know. It's only going to hold it together for so long. So I got out the stuff to make it realize I bought the wrong bead size, so I had to go back and get the bead size again. And now I have replaced the ones that were not available on the website anymore. So these are all already up there. And there's a little Saturn, a little rocket, an astronaut, and a little spaceship. So I made those. And I said, well, as long as I'm making things, I made the other 2 bugs. Remember the bugs that I showed you?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there were 2 that I hadn't done. So I went ahead and made these bugs. I don't know what kind of bugs they are, or I would say, some look kind of like cicadas to me, but I think it's a beetle. I have no idea. Because I do not look closely at bugs. I can identify some bugs.
She's afraid of that.
But I'm fine not knowing. So I finished the other 2, and they are on the Etsy shop now. I just said steampunk bugs. Bug 1, bug 2, bug 3.
You're a bug, they're a bug. If we're a bug.
And then Tiny Modernist. This is my cross-stitch camp piece for August. I've never done a biscornu, so I thought this is perfect one. Record-setting heat thing, you know, Phoenix. I'm doing it on DMC Opal, which to me looks like smoke. I'm really happy with the way the colors look on the fabric. Mm-hmm. It's all DMC colors. The pattern, this is the first time I've purchased a Tiny Modernist pattern in hard copy. The other Tiny Modernists that I've had are PDF, and you can read the pattern. Look at this pattern.
The PDFs you mean you can read? Or
Yeah,
this is
you can
not
read the
readable?
PDFs. That you can't read.
You're gonna blow it up.
And so I said, I'm going to have to copy this larger. And Beth says, well, mine won't make enlargements. And I think mine will, but I can't, for some reason, get my computer to talk to my printer. So anyway, one side says it knows it and the other side doesn't. So I had to print it larger at a print place. But I was struggling through. I had it on my phone, looking bigger, you know. But then I have to keep picking up it was a mess. So I got, here's a picture of how far I got on it. Before I realized that it was wrong from like here down.
Oh, no.
And I thought about just starting over. That's how far down it was, right? And you'll see by the picture. And I think I took it out on Thursday, maybe Wednesday. And I've gotten this much done in that short amount of time. That amount of time between August 1st and when I noticed the mistake, which was not that long ago, maybe 3 days ago, I hadn't gotten this far. And I did most of this that you see here in one day. Because I could actually see the pattern. and part of the problem with the pattern is that the colors are so close in color that you can't even go by color for you know which symbol is which. Mm-hmm. So you can barely tell the yellow from the red, you know. So blowing it up helped. I was able to get a lot more done. I just am not working on this right now because it's very fiddly, which is how I ended up getting that one thing wrong. It was one stitch too far that way on the bottom half of it. And I was like, the other wing is going to be wrong.
Yeah.
And then the other three that are supposed to be exactly the same
Will not.
I would have to make the same mistake again. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So I was like, okay, no, I'm not doing that. And that is me.
Okay, perfect timing because I just finished this. Well, I'm not almost finished this figure. I remember I said put a little more red in there, but anyway. So, I have a lot of stuff. I'm going to go start with what I have in my hand here. I'm working on this Yay. It's a Southwestern Designs, Southwest Decoratives, Rugs of the Southwest series. And this one is, these are all like, I guess, based on sand paintings. I think it's, Navajo, I want to say Navajo, sand paintings. And this was one that Naomi bought me this kit when you went fishing.
Up in Marble Canyon / Glen Canyon area, Lee's Ferry.
Mm-hmm. So I had started it. I don't know if it was in Mania or if it was one of my other new starts for the month or whatever. Before, but I had only done the middle of this maiden or deity or whatever it is. I had done like just the red in the middle and then down one side, just I guess a couple of lengths of thread or whatever. Mm-hmm. But so
that's a lot of progress. It's great.
Was it yesterday that you went to the
Yes.
MRI thing? So
no, the MRI was the day before.
Wednesday. Yeah. So on Wednesday I did
Thursday.
basically.
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday I did basically all of the everything else. One thing I did is I started to do this red line across the bottom of the skirt thing. I started it right here, and then and then it was like, why is this like all wonky and like off center and all that? Because I knew it was supposed to be centered, and I realized, oh, I had to do one more set of 3 down here and then go across.
It was Thursday.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I did all of this because I was waiting for Eve. She was getting an MRI of her knee. We'll talk about that.
No, I was
stories.
getting an MRI in my head.
Oh yeah, or her head. That's a different thing, a different issue. But so while she was in there getting her MRI, I was sitting in the lobby doing all this stitching, and so I finished a lot of it. I had done some before we went, but I finished a lot of this figure while I was sitting there. I still have some red to do down here, like little socks or whatever, and then some black to be the feet, and then there's a black. The black along the bottom that makes the border is part of this other figure. So, but anyway, so I'm pretty far along. I think today is like the 3rd day. I guess I started this on the I want to say the 8th or the 9th. When because I was at Naomi's house until the 8th. So I started it probably the 9th or whatever. And so that's about, I've done about, today is I think the 3rd day really on this. And my goal is 6 days, so.
You've done a lot. That's cool.
Yeah. It went once I got going on it, it went really fast,
Yeah.
you know.
It's
This is all DMC threads that came in the kit. They, you know, they sent in really rather big blobs of, you know, lots and lots of thread. So,
That's cool.
yeah. So, one of my other stitches that was doing double duty as both my cross stitch camp piece for August, and one of my new starts for WIPGO, because I have, you know, a new start for each block. But one is Christmas Moose by Bendy Stitchy, Michelle Garrett. And I had never done a Bendy Stitchy design. That was my something new to me challenge. And it's all DMC plus etoile. The body of the moose is etoile, which is a DMC sparkly thread. And I finished it. I mean, the sun is shining through it. I finished it, I guess Tuesday? The 8th, yeah. So, it's all done. The called for white is blanc in the pattern, but I used B5200, which I use for basically everything.
Let me see. Well, that's so cute.
It's very cute. Very cute. But it's all done. So, yay. Yay me.
No, this is yay.
So that's done.
Just kidding.
My other new start, I did yesterday, because yesterday, Friday, was World Cross Stitch Day. And so I did the next one in this Year in the Woods series. This one is the ferret. I talked about this before. I've gone back and forth between raccoon and ferret, but this was the ferret. So, there's a big old thread there. So last month, one of my new starts was the raccoon, and I just did this little teeny tiny thing. But you know, I had to do the border to get them in the right place. And so in order to do the ferret, I had to continue the border across. So I was looking at my old piece of fabric to see, I don't know why I didn't look. Oh yeah, to you know, to see the border, because I think I have it written down, you know, somewhere, that scribbled down on a piece of graph paper, you know, but I wanted to look at the actual fabric to see what I had done to really see it, and to count how many of these little. It's just like, you know, this set and this set, you know, alternating like that, just a simple border. But I needed to see how many I needed to do, how many little groups I needed to do. And so I counted them, and there's like, okay, there's 26. So I started doing it, and when I glanced at this border, I got it wrong, because the border is little sets of 4, right? 4 little X's here, and 4 little X's, and like sets of 4. And I did sets of 3. So like you can see it on the beginning of the border here, it's only 3 going down.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be 4, but I had done 3 and 3 and 3, and so I started going across, and I got up to like 26, right? And I was gonna do the little vertical thing that divides the two patterns. And I thought, okay, so how I remember I did something when I was fiddling around with this design about how I should do the vertical division between them, and so I wanted to make sure it was correct. And I looked at it, it's like, okay, it's apparently a 4th stitch, and then it goes down. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's 4 stitches here, and then it's groups of 4. So I had to take it all out. And then stitch it all again before I could even do my new start. So I did all of that. I was like, oh, I was like,
The other one was groups of 4?
Yeah,
2?
yeah.
Oh,
The original
I see.
was groups of 4, but this one I did groups
3?
of 3 here. Yeah.
Oh.
So I had to go all the way back to the beginning and do 4. And so then I finally did my new start, and it's just like basically one length of thread. This is saffron is the color, but I just did this. There's these big flowers in the pattern, so I just did one petal of the flower, and I maybe started on the other one here. So yeah, that's the ferret.
Very good.
Just a very tiny start. But that was yesterday, you know. And then
Anything worth doing is worth doing twice.
that's right. So the 18th, next Friday, is my mother's birthday, and I worked on Mother's Day. I worked a little bit more on this pattern by New York Dreamer, Zia Gladstone, New York Dreamer, called Mother. And so I'm going to work on that again on Friday, and I'm really almost done with it, because last time I put in the word mother, and I think I did more of this little vine thing. So there's more of the sprigs of that vine and some other little things, and then I think there's an alphabet around here and some words. So I might not get it all done, but I think I should be able to, and maybe I'll get at least the vine thing done. But that I'm going to work on Friday. And the other thing I have is my FFOs from July. I did some of them, and I have not done some of them. I had several that I decided including the whole. I had a whole pile of smalls, and I had great plans to make needle minders out of them or something. And then I just didn't do that. I decided to make pillows out of them instead. And then I had some other things that I did. So one thing that I did, and I showed this last time I think, was this this little Santa Claus. This is the one that I cut wrong, right?
Yeah.
So I cut it down, and I made this little put this ribbon around it. And when I was doing the ribbon, I accidentally left a little gap there that you can see. If you look at it, I guess from a distance, you probably couldn't tell.
Right.
But if you look it up close, you can see it. So I decided, in consulting with Eve, we figured out that I bought some narrow ribbon too, because this ribbon or trim thing that's around it is it comes apart. It frays very badly. So I have some red ribbon, and I'm going to put this little charm. I'm going to put this charm on a bow and then just glue it on there to cover up the little gap. So this is, it's impossible to see, you know, put a picture of it. But it's a little, one of those little moon-shaped Santas with the white beard and the red hat and everything. And it perfectly complements the stitching. It just goes the opposite direction, you know. But so that's what I'm going to do with this. So it's FFO'd, but it's not quite FFO'd because I'm going to put that ribbon on. What is finished is this little nativity scene. And if I had had a brain, I would have gathered it the way I did this one, because it's got these little corners.
She was showing me that, and then she had started working on the other one, and I was like, "Why are you doing it like that?"
And the thing is that I did it I did the gathering thing before, because when I finished that design for Rachel in the hoop that came with the hoop, I did the same. I gathered it and all that kind of stuff. And for some reason, my brain wasn't working when I did this.
So this one you just folded over.
So this one, yeah, I folded over and glued it to the thing.
Do you remember when we were kids and sodas had bottle caps?
Mm-hmm.
And then you would save all the bottle caps and put little pieces of cloth on and gather them all. And then you would sew all those bottle caps together.
For like a trivet or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys even know what bottle caps are?
Metal bottle caps.
Metal bottle caps, yeah.
Not plastic ones.
That's not really a bottle cap to me. It's kind of yeah.
So anyway, I edged this with some yarn that I have. It's kind of fuzzy, so it kind of covers up the corners, you know. And then I glued it to these metal ornament disc things. I got them at Hobby Lobby. That's what Santa's on. Ooh, what Santa's on too. These metal discs, and they're very sharp. If you're not careful, you could cut yourself with that. And then the other thing I did was this rabbit, and I did gather it like I'm supposed to, but I edged it with this orange cording that I have, and this little bunny thing. It's on a metal base, and then there's a wooden bunny on top of it. And this I got at Hobby Lobby also. It has a little hanger on there.
You didn't get that at the
That's
Dollar
cute.
Tree?
No, it's Hobby Lobby.
That's very cute.
Dollar Tree.
Yeah. And so this
Hold it up higher because you were behind the.
This ribbon that I have on here has a little carrots on it, and I really wanted to incorporate it in this design, and I finally here it's just folded over to kind of look like a bow. It's not knotted like a bow, but I used some narrow ribbon to just wrap around it and
Cute.
squinched it together and glued it on the bunny.
That's very cute.
So, and then they glued this round thing on his little bunny butt. And I keep wanting to put these. I have these little bunnies, little adhesive bunnies from Hobby Lobby. They just have a little adhesive on the square on the back.
You just can't find a good place for
But
it.
yeah, I was like, well, I could put one here. I could put one here.
No, it looks good just like it is.
But yeah, so like, I guess I'm gonna use my bunnies. But I used the carrot ribbon, so yeah.
That's very cute.
I figure I've got a lot of bunny patterns. There's somewhere I can use a bunny somewhere. And then this one
Oh, that's cute.
was the elephant and pug was my finish on my WIP-GO, and I had a dragonfly and ant also. I had finished it also. So I put them together on this little plank. And this plank, I don't know if it's from Hobby Lobby or from Walmart. It might be from Walmart because they have a lot of this stuff. It's just a whitewashed wooden plank thing that has a little jute hanger. And so I was going to try to find like a fabric for both of them, backing fabric to unite them. But they don't have any colors in common really. Except like maybe this one of these orange colors they have,
I think it looks
and the
great
black
just
and
like
white.
that.
But I like the way I did it this way. I had some yarn again, so this is like a almost yellow.
They're united
olive.
in styles. What they're
Yeah, and this is like this is blue to bring out the blue in this very blue pattern, and this is more of a earth tone kind of pattern, but they look very, very good together, I think. So yeah, that was my other finish. And the thing about the yarn is that it's not officially a trim, but it works very well if you find the right thickness and the right texture, you know.
If you put it around there as a trim, it's officially a trim.
Yeah. It's
You don't have
sold
to.
that
You don't
way,
have
I
to
guess.
apologize for using it in a function other than the.
It's
Off label.
Off label.
So I think that's me so far.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, I'm going to tell some stories. First of all, we went to Towson. It was beautiful. It was hot, though, and there was no rain.
Please.
No, I know. It wasn't, but you know, hot is relative, right? Because it was only in the 90s, but when you're walking around in the,
Yeah.
and the sun, because you're such higher altitude, it's like Hannah said, she's like, I feel like the sun was much closer, like,
You are. It is.
yeah, and so the sun was very hot, so we got kind of overheated several times.
Oh, I didn't show one of
But-
my finishes. Sorry. Turtly Lovable.
Oh.
This is the one I decided to make into a needle minder, but I'm not happy with it. I want to redo, because I used 2 pieces of foam core and sandwiched them together, and it's too thick.
Yeah.
I think I want to redo this and just use a flat piece of, you know, poster board or something to put the magnets on. So, yeah. Anyway, that's Turtly Lovable. I'll have a picture of it. I don't have
And
it
that's
with me.
Eve's phone ringing.
I probably should have answered that, but I'm not going to.
So, anyway, so it was warmer than we wanted it. How about that? But we had a nice time. Hannah's concert was great, and we just, I don't know. When we went up into the ski valley, the weather was so beautiful up there. It was like 20 degrees difference between the town and the ski valley. And it was just really, really nice. I didn't take a lot of pictures. I just kind of lived the moment. Did a lot of shopping, though. So, but it was fun. And so we had a nice time. And on our drive back, we get a phone call from Beth saying, no. That's not what happened. What happened was we were driving back and we were talking about the kitchen and we hadn't heard anything about the granite yet. And I'm like, oh, when is this going to happen? And so that morning I told Mark, well, because I was driving, and I told Mark, hey, while you're sitting there, just text the foreman guy and say, have you heard anything about the granite? So we can plan our work week. And he texts back, yeah, he's coming today at around 10 or something. And I'm like, okay. So I called Beth. I'm like, hey, the granite guy's coming. So fortunately, she was there at the house, and they brought it in and put it all in. So now, over the last, see, that was Tuesday, and today's Saturday. So over the last 3 days, we've been having guys in the house, and they did the backsplash. They put in all the appliances and the electrical and the under cabinet lighting and all the everything. And here are pictures of my finished kitchen. We could not be happier. It's beautiful. It's exactly the way I imagined it. The windowsill cap is just gorgeous. I think he saved the best piece of granite for that. And so these pictures are prior to any junk going on the counters. Now I'm like, how do I keep this
You still
beautiful
need to
look?
get painting date?
We still have to paint, yeah. So it's not 100%, but that's gonna happen in the next couple of months, I think.
I was wondering
And
how
then-
you're going to do that. 'cause-
Yeah. They're gonna. We have to paint after. We have to paint because the whole drywall got destroyed. So.
Yeah.
But we didn't see any point in painting prior to the finish of the kitchen.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's done. And but there was one little fly in the ointment last night. They just finished yesterday, and before the guy left, he started the dishwasher, and to make sure it was working and everything seemed fine. But he had to go. So then later that day, but what he had been doing is right over the dishwasher, he'd been finishing the grout on the backsplash. So I found some water on the floor, and it had grout color in it, and I thought, oh, this was a drip from his
From their wash.
from his big sponge, and they wash it off. And I'm like, I don't think it's from the dishwasher.
Famous
So
last words.
yeah, so then we ran another load last night, and Mark went to check to see because it was like, oh my gosh, that's the express wash is taking forever. So he went to check it, and there was water all in front of the dishwasher.
Oh my gosh.
It was midnight. I texted the foreman. Wow. I from reading about brand new dishwashers, it's possible it's just it's the door gasket, and so hopefully won't be a huge problem. So he's coming Monday to check it, and I'm like, I wanted to use my dishwasher all weekend.
Tell them what happened last time you had a dishwasher leaking.
Well, I know. Anyways,
At least you noticed it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the little fly in the ointment, but we'll get that taken care of. But so I'm like, well, I guess I'm hand washing all my dishes as I put them back in.
At least you can. You have a sink.
Right. So yes, the
You're
sink
nice.
is lovely. It's lovely. So we're very happy about that. And I think that's pretty much all my stories. Eve has stories.
Yes. So my ENT ordered MRI. So technically everything that happened after that is Beth's fault. Because I was at an ENT to try to figure out why I kept hearing ringing in my ears, and they did all these things, tests and all that, and he goes, we can't. And he said, how long have you been hearing it? And I told him, and he said, well, we're not finding anything that says why, you know. And he was all ready to send me on my way. And I was just chatting, and I said, well, I wanted to just double check because my mom lost her hearing totally, and it started that way. And I said, and my sister had an acoustic neuroma, and immediately his little smile turned upside down. And he said, your sister? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, it's probably nothing, but we're going to get an acoustic, we're going to get an MRI just to be sure. And I was like, I didn't think that those were like, you know.
Familial, yeah.
Yeah. But,
Genetic.
but you know, he's the doctor. So I went to get the MRI. And I am not a tall person. So every table like that, you know, you go in the doctor and they have those little tables. They're all way too high for me. I need stools. The MRI table, I think they had it as low as it would go. And it wasn't hard for me to get up on it. And I was going to get down. And it was high enough that, and maybe they had raised it after I got on it. I don't know. But it was high enough that I couldn't just step off of it. And it is my habit to kind of move to my side and extend my leg down until my toe touches the ground so that I can get down. Because I get off of high things that are too high for me all the time, including my bed. You know, so it's not something that is rare for me to do. And I stepped off of that and immediately was like, I couldn't even move for a bit. And they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. Well, my knee hurts all the time because I have arthritis. And usually I can walk it out. And so I was like, I'll be okay. And so I just limped away. And I had to take Beth to pick up a prescription. And I had to get a prescription for myself, a different place. And we got back and I was like, this is not going to be okay. I put ice on it. Then I switched to heat, which felt a little better. And it was doing nothing. And so...
Yeah, because I thought, you know, if she puts her leg up and, you know, rests or whatever, you know, maybe she'll feel better or whatever.
So I called my doctor. I was in a lot of pain. I called and I took Tylenol with codeine. That was the strongest thing I could take. And so the night before, I didn't take it during the day. And so the next morning, I called primary care, discovered that my primary care had left. I had a new one. Every time I see
You
a new
people run
person,
doctors off. I don't
Our
understand.
it's her.
doctor
It's her fault.
rotating,
So
revolving door.
I saw this doctor, and he goes, honestly, I can't do anything for you. You're going to have to go to the ER. He said, because if I order an x-ray for you, you're going to have to go back to the place where I got hurt. You're going to have to go back there, and you're going to have to wait for the x-ray. And for the x-ray, you are going to have to stand up. And I've had knee x-rays before. They make you twist your knee this way, they make you twist your knee that way, and you're supposed to stand up straight so that they can get proper images of the knee. It's bad enough with arthritis. And I was like, there is absolutely no way I'm going to be able to stand up straight on this knee, because if I straighten my leg is when it hurts. And he said also they'll be able to take the x-rays there with you laying down in the thing, and they'll be able to give you a referral to an orthopedist, which I could give you, but you will have to wait to get in. And if you've recently been to the hospital for an orthopedic injury, you can get in quicker. And after discussing all this with him, I went, okay. And I contacted Naomi, because I was afraid if I went right away, I was in a lot of pain still. And I was like, if they give me morphine or something else like that, I won't be able to drive home. And I was afraid that I would not be able to drive home. Also, past a certain time, knowing how long emergency visits can last, there is no valet to come and get my car. I mean, to bring it back to me. I could have left it with the valet when I got there, but they would be gone by the time I got back. So I told Naomi, it's not, you don't have to come right now and take me right now. She was in the middle of problems with her house. And so later in the afternoon, she took me. She picked me up at 10. And of course, all they did was take an x-ray and tell me to go to an orthopedist, which I was expecting, you know.
Right.
But when we got there, Naomi says to me, I think you should use this. And she handed me a face mask. And honestly, if you hadn't been there, it probably wouldn't have occurred to me. But I put it on because, I was in a petri dish, and I was waiting, and there was nobody sitting beside me. I was waiting for them to call me for the original triage thing. And a woman comes in with paramedics, but she wasn't like in an accident or something. She was just sick. When I say just sick, she seemed very sick. She sat beside me, slightly behind me, but beside me. Lady coughed the whole time. She had a little barf bag in front with her.
Oh.
And I was like,
Aren't you glad I also told you to squeeze it down over your nose?
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, okay. So when I got back into the triage thing, I needed to take a temperature or something. I took it off, and I never put it back on because it fell on the floor. And they said, okay, we're going to wheel you back out to the waiting room. It's a different section. It's like sectioned off, so that they don't have to hold beds for people that are just waiting for test results or something.
Right.
If you're mobile,
Right.
And I said, you're sending me back to the waiting room? And they said, yes. I said, okay. I said, but I'm going to need another mask.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then they were going to put a brace, and I was like, that thing is never going to stay on my leg because it was too long, and they just don't stay on my leg because I'm short and round. So they decided to, she said, put on an ace bandage. Well, this was not an ace bandage. This was a gauze with Velcro.
Yeah.
And I, it felt real good when they first put it on. And then when I sat in the wheelchair, it started pinching. And when I got up to go out to Naomi's car, it was really pinching. And if anybody has ever had blood removed or something and they've wrapped gauze around your elbow, you know what I'm talking about. it gets in that little fold, and it just squeezes really tight, and I'm like ripping at it while Naomi's driving me home. I'm like, it's cutting off my circulation. And I've tried a couple times to get it back on, and I'm like, this is the worst thing ever.
I had one of those. I don't remember why I was at the emergency room that they put one of those, and it was like, it just like, by the time I got home, it was like falling off, or just coming apart. And I have, a couple of ace bandages from, I think when I had my knee surgery years ago in Arkansas, so I still have them. And so I thought, yeah, it's a real ace bandage. So if we need to rewrap it, we're going to have to use that, because those things that they, from the hospital.
I tried like 4 times to put it back on, and every time it was painful. Not painful because I had to have my leg straight, which, is how my leg hurts. It hurts if I straighten it. But not painful because of that, but because the thing is like, so, yeah, I was like, I'm not wearing that. I try not to be too, uncompliant, but, yeah, I'm not wearing that. So.
Finish the decreases. I have 16 rows, I believe.
So it's like,
Go.
first it's shingles. and so the only thing that really upsets me about this issue, because I'm not working, I can just, sit and cross stitch. But the only thing that really upsets me about this is that I keep looking out at my pool. I want to get in the pool.
It'd probably really help you if you could get down the steps.
It's not getting down that's the problem.
Or, yeah, I know, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. The last step, getting out, is just like a doozy, and it's really hard. And I've been able to get out pretty easily recently, but I have to use my right leg to get out. So, I don't know. It's on the, they think I tore my meniscus again. And I was like, I don't know. It doesn't feel the same way. She goes, might be a slight tear. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I remember when I tore mine, I had fallen at the symphony was doing a concert at a university somewhere. And so after we had rehearsed, they were providing us dinner at their their cafeteria there for their dorms. So we were all in there, and as we were leaving, we were leaving to get ready for the concert, and so I was walking with some of my colleagues, and I tripped over an uneven thing on the sidewalk and landed hard on my knee, and of course in front of everybody, and I hit my knee, and I went, like it just fell on my face basically. And so of course all these people, and they're not really my friends, they're colleagues, and they're like, so I
Was it for a concert?
right before the concert, yeah.
So was it you were in your nice clothes?
No, I was
No.
still in my my junky clothes.
That's good.
But I had to, yeah, that was the one saving grace. But I still had to go change clothes for the concert. But they're all like, "Oh, are you okay? Do you need eyes?" Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I have a concert. I don't have time to put eyes on my knee. I have to, go change clothes. So I'm like, no, I'm fine. So, but I could tell from the pain that it was not normal, like, fall down and, give yourself a, skin your knee or something. But I, like I said, I didn't have to really have time. And so I was in the little, like, locker room area, dressing room.
Did you bloody your knee?
No.
Oh.
I think it was not bloody or anything like that. But I went to use the restroom, and then I was gonna change out of my jeans or whatever I was wearing to nice concert blacks, but a pair of pants or whatever. And so I was in there, and it really hurt to put on my pants, and I couldn't cross my knees.
Mm-hmm.
because that
Yeah.
L thing that you do with your leg to cross your knee over your other leg was hurt. What really hurt.
Yeah.
And so, fortunately, in that little dressing room area, there was like a bench, across, like in a locker room, a bench across there, and so I was able to like sort of prop my leg up there and reach down and put on my sock on my shoe, and
Yeah, I couldn't do that now.
Yeah.
and so I probably couldn't do it either, but having the thing there, I was able to put, because I absolutely could not cross my legs to
Yeah.
to put my shoes on.
Well, no.
And so I was sitting in the
Hi, honey.
in the concert, and like
Well,
I had to. I think there was one piece that I didn't play, so I was on stage
Ita.
playing this piece, and then I went off stage while they played this other piece that I was not involved in. And while I was sitting there, I could feel my knee was killing me, and I really didn't have facilities to to put ice on it or anything like that. I had taken some Advil before,
Right.
during that time, but I was like, my knee there's something really wrong with it. And like when I was playing, I could, if I lifted my foot up off the floor, I could move it around. It would, like, I could swing it around, I could do all that. But if I had it on the floor, just just that little bit of tension trying to move my foot hurt.
Yeah.
And then after the concert, so my knee was hurting, but I had to drive we were in the town of Arkadelphia, which is about an hour and a half out of Little Rock, and I had to drive back to Hot Springs, which is where, if those of you who watch Marlene Stitching by the Lake, that's where she lives, in Hot Springs. And so I had to drive there because our handbell choir from church was playing in a handbell festival down there, and we were staying at a hotel. So I'm making the drive back, and I'm like, oh my God, my knee hurts. And I'm sitting there driving in my little car, and I was sharing a room with our handbell director. But we got to the hotel, and my hotel room was upstairs, and so fortunately she carried my horn in there or whatever, and I'm there hobbling up the stairs, and so I finally got there, and I was laying down in bed, and I like put my knee in a certain position. I had like put pillows under it or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to relax. I can go sleep. And then as soon as I would start to relax, my knee would like, so I had to like find a different position.
Well, no matter what happens, what's happened to either of you, we can both be, we can all be thankful that because our cousin fell that way and broke her femur and her kneecap.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was lucky that nothing broke.
Well, and that's the thing.
How
at the ER, they're like, so you fell? I'm like, no.
No, I just stepped.
I just stepped
took a
down.
step.
I just stepped down off of something. I mean, it wasn't even a long step. It was just a step. Yeah, and then the next one. So you fell?
No.
No.
Well, when I fell,
One doctor said, so why didn't you have them take an image of it right there? Like,
because we as patients have no power, sir. Because they would have said, sorry, you need to go see a doctor first. They wouldn't have done that.
No.
Nobody would have done that.
no, they wouldn't have said,
Oh, you hurt
oh,
your
you hurt
knee.
yourself. Maybe we should go take an x-ray. They're
Or-
not going to do that.
Or let's put you back in the MRI and we'll just see what's wrong. Like, no, they're not
Yeah.
going to do that.
No, because you guys have your insurance has
I
to
know.
authorize it, blah blah blah. Your
I
doctor,
know,
blah blah
I
blah.
know.
Yeah. So
If they had MRIs back in the Little House on the Prairie days, the doctor would have said, "Oh, well, let's just put you back." But obviously,
Well,
you know what I mean. Like
What
before-
I had a back issue, and my back was really hurting and all this stuff, and I had talked to my primary care doctor, and he's like, well, because of the insurance, what you have to do is you have to go to do physical therapy, because I think we did x-rays first, and then I had to go to physical therapy, and then I could get an MRI, because you can't just go from the doctor says, you need an MRI, go get one. No. So I went to physical therapy, and I would feel okay, I would feel good, right, during the physical therapy, during whatever they were doing, like they put me on traction and things like that, and it felt good, great. But then, like, an hour later, whatever, when I was at work, it was killing me again. And so I wasn't making any progress. Like, okay, now here, and now you're better, and now you're better, and now you're fine. So I wasn't making the progress, that they wanted me to make in physical therapy. And I'm like, I could have told you that. But of course, I had to do all that before I could get the MRI.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, it's the nature of the beast, because they want to
Yeah.
make sure that, because that's an
Yeah.
expensive test, and they want to make. I was trying to adjust where I was sitting, and I made the mistake of bending my knee.
It's so funny because
They just.
oh,
I want to I understand, but sometimes the doctors are like, I really need you to have this test. I'm like, I know, but the insurance says no.
Yeah.
I know it. So I fell some time ago, and I was surprised I didn't get hurt. My skin is still messed up from that fall in downtown.
Yeah.
I didn't rip my pants. My pants tore my skin up, and I still have this weird brown patch because it never really came back right. But I didn't. I was surprised that I actually didn't get hurt. Like, it was mostly just the skin.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I could fall down and tumble in the street in Phoenix and not get hurt. Really, I mean, just my skin. Well, the other day I was I don't know, about a month ago. Because my right knee's been making noise because I'm getting old, and I was just sitting at work, and I tucked, because I'm short and my chair's too high, I tucked my feet up onto the feet of where the wheels
Of the
are,
chair,
so they're kind of hyper bent, I guess, So I was sitting there for a while, and then I got up to walk around the office, and all of a sudden I'm like, I can't walk. And my knee hurt from just sitting like that. My knee hurt for days. It took days for that to go away.
Well,
And I was to the point where I'm like, okay, I have to take my one allowed dose of ibuprofen.
My knee, my right knee has been problematic since for like years, because the last time that we went tent camping was like in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my knee was really painful after that, and when we used to do that, I had a little bitty tent, and so in order to get around inside the tent, I had to basically be on my knees, right? And so afterward, when I got back to Little Rock, my orthopedist was saying, you just, need to take it easy and excuse me,
Not
stay away
crawling
from
on your
stairs
knees.
and things like that. And so at work and at my apartment, I was able to use the elevator and just not use the stairs. But then, like, so after a while, I guess my knee felt okay, and then I just, one thing that came up in my memories today on Facebook was that I had gone out to take the trash out to the dumpster there at my apartment, and the cement thing was like uneven; it was cracked or something there out by the dumpster, and that particular day I tripped on the uneven edge and fell on my knee, and I remember saying, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but there was a guy out there at the time, because it was very embarrassing to go splat in front of the person, but it was good because he was able to help me up and all that. So that was the same knee that I fell on at the concert thing, and that was the knee that so finally when I went back to see my orthopedist for that, then he determined that I probably tore the meniscus in my knee, and so I had the surgery on that finally, and that's the knee that it's always bothering me, now.
Well, that's why I love tent camping, but I told Mark years ago, I'm like, I have to be able to stand up and walk around, or I will not get in this tent. I cannot have to change sitting up. in my bed. No, 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 no.
You know, I thought about when my CPR certification was ending, you know, the dates were ending, and my fingerprint clearance card, you know, I thought about renewing them. And I thought about the CPR one, I'm like, absolutely not. I can't get down on the floor for any length of time.
Yeah.
And you have to get on the floor in order to, you know, and I was like,
So what you're saying is none of us should have a heart attack while we're around here.
no, I think if it was a real thing, I would do what I needed to do.
Right.
But
I know, just joking.
but all day,
yeah.
they make you do it all day because you got to do all this stuff, right? You go from sitting in a chair for a couple hours and then you're on the ground kneeling.
Yeah.
And the ground kneeling is
It's painful.
painful.
Yeah.
And I saw this woman, she was saying, you know, and I know because it happened to Dad. She said, as an adult, we get out of the habit of getting up off the floor. And if you do not keep doing it, you will lose the ability to get up off the floor without using a chair or something else to pull yourself up. And I thought about that and I said, yeah, I think I'm already there. Where because even using a chair or whatever, it is difficult for me to get up off the floor. And she goes, because if you fall down or something happens, how are you going to get up? She says, you need to do it every day.
Oh my gosh.
Well, you know, when I was doing the physical therapy after my surgery, that was one thing they had me do was, you know, you get down on the floor and get up and using a chair. But, you know, just to help you have some kind of that physical skill. But like now, you know, dealing with the cats knocking stuff under the bed or whatever, like I'm like do as much as I can, like with a broom fishing under there, and you know, like hoping that I don't have to get down on the floor and look under the bed for whatever, you know.
Well, I
And
told
like,
you that paper fell underneath the couch. The paper for my temperature, Sal. The reason I didn't lift it up is because when I was doing my video, it slipped out of my hands and either went under the couch or under a coffee table, and the coffee table weighs 1,000 pounds.
And like, it's gone forever. You're dead. To me. You're dead to me.
I'm like,
I can't get it.
maybe if I got a broom.
I mean, that's honestly the entire reason I had children. Please pick that up for me. Please pick that up for me.
Yeah.
I'm to the point now where my knees.
I just thought I can print out a
if
new
I have
one.
to pick something up off the floor, I'm like a giraffe. I spread my legs down and bend over. I try to avoid using my knees at all costs. It's really bad.
It's like,
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm just gonna do the giraffe.
That's how, when my cats
when
are
you
like
kind of squat a little bit, you know, but you're basically bending over in half, trying to look for something on the floor.
Trying to avoid the squat
so,
down.
I
No, I feel really bad.
when
It's
I'm
really
giving
bad. I
my-
should strengthen my legs.
So I have one of those little water things for my cats, fountain, but I kind of have to add water to it every so often, and so in order to get close enough to it and to not splash water all over the place, I bend over to refill it, and so I actually, or like when my cats, being cats, barf on the floor, to clean it up or whatever, I have to like bend my knees to because I can't just bend over.
No, you have to bend your knees.
Yeah.
Okay,
oh my God.
That's a bad sentence if you're like, I don't want to bend my knees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's yeah.
It's time for all of us to go to physical therapy.
And speaking of cats, my poor cat Snug, he has had like an issue where he gets like he's doing a lot of scratching and all that stuff. And I was concerned, of course, and he's been to the doctor and gotten, they actually did a food allergy test on him, and he's supposedly allergic to chicken. Although he doesn't care, he likes chicken, but so I've been trying to find chicken-free things, and but just changing his diet didn't really help. He had some kind of like they're not cancerous tumors, I don't think, but because they shrink actually with the steroid thing. So I don't know but he had like his lip was really very swollen, and that with the medication has gone down. It hasn't disappeared completely, but it's gone way down. But he has had the same kind of thing on his paw. And I noticed the other day he was licking and licking and licking and licking his paw, and I looked at it, and it's just got like I guess I don't know if he's broken the skin or if the skin broken itself or whatever, but his little paw is all ooky and injured and stuff. So
Rogue to say hello.
he's got to go back to the vet.
Here's
Yeah.
Rogue to say hi. She says, "Aren't you done yet?" Yes, we're done.
Yes.
We're going to be done now. Okay. Okay. I know. I got to go. Okay.
Yeah, I've got to go. We've got errands.
I got to get off this chair.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us for another week, and happy birthday to Eve.
Yes.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.